you shouldn't speak
I
up.
know, right?
Is that something that you experienced when you were in school?
Helen, back in school, it was a boys' school actually. So, in as much as maybe you are hurt and all that, it's very difficult to come out to do that. There's more like there's this protection thing as part of us. Yes, you're a junior, you'll be more treated one way or the other, but you can't just go to the authorities and say this is what these what's the name senior has done to me. I think it's part of every school, and for me, it's quite unfortunate that the senior went this far. I'm saying that if maybe back in my time, 2008, 2007, if we had WhatsApp or maybe phones, we'd have seen scary things than this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very worrying. It's something we'll talk more about on the morning show. Again, George, thank you so much for the news at 6. We'll be zooming into the weather very, very shortly with Felicity Ahafianyo. She's on the line with us. Felicity, hello, good morning to you. Hope you're well.
Yeah, good morning, Helen. I am better today than yesterday.
Amazing. We're already feeling some showers of blessings here in Adesawe. What can you say for the rest of the country?
Yes, thanks so much and good morning to our dear viewers and listeners. For today, this morning is to be cloudy over most portions over southern Ghana with light rain or drizzle. For the northern sector, we expect it to be partly cloudy with no much rain activities except those over the central portions of the savannah area. You have some patches of rain clouds over there. After that, we expect it to move into partly cloudy sky. Temperatures for today, we expect an average of 31 degrees Celsius over most portions of the country. The state of the sea, we expect it to be rough. We are still expecting the windy conditions. Volta Lake is also cool for any fishing activities today. But then by tomorrow morning, we are expecting mist of fog patches over there, so they have to be a bit careful. For Ghana, for this afternoon, the sun will break through. The evening, we expect the clouds to come back with light rain or drizzle.
All right, Felicity, thank you so much for that update.
Thank you so much, too. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Enjoy your day as well. Again, that was Felicity Ahafianyo giving us a taste of what to expect by way of weather. There's also another update at 11 a.m., so be sure to check us out on the socials, and then you too can find out whether or not you can leave the umbrellas at home for the rest of the day. But in this part of Accra, it is wet and windy.
Hustle every day. All these tears no be play. We dey hustle every day. All these tears no be play. No be play.
of the list this morning. It's also top of the trends. Sorry, but are you surprised by that? A lot of conversation has been sparked by this viral video.
Yes, this is an issue that I'm sure most of us will be able to relate.
That's right.
Especially if you've been through the secondary school system, and for those who passed through the old system, we went to meet seniors. Who. Even if you meet them in the house, you call them brayima, is like you are big brother.
Wow.
And you come to meet them in the school. So being the senior and at the same time, your big brother, you know how to relate. So it's quite unfortunate that such incident happened. And I think that it's important we have a conversation on it.
I agree.
I get to the point. Because even now, we are all saying that most of people are saying that we shouldn't even ship students in school. Those issues are there.
Yeah.
How much more using physical violence, physical
Absolutely.
assault on the college students. It was like I was watching wrestling.
Very unfortunate. It's on the menu. We'll talk about it this morning. Also, what has the OSP found? There's more happening on the front of the $1 million saga as the OSP snuff out some more cash from the former minister. We'll be talking about that. We also have a one-on-one with Diana Hamilton. VGMA Best Artist 2020. Very exciting indeed. So do stick with us. A lot to come this morning. But let's get stuck straight in. I've got the Ghanaian Times and the Daily Graphic as well this morning. Asoriba has a number of papers.
Yeah.
Let's run through the front pages. Ghana loses 26 million cedis in 2 years through electronic money issuers. We'll talk about that. It's captured on page 13. President makes 3 new appointments. We'll tell you exactly who these persons are. Adisadel College headmaster interdicted. Court directs Charles Bisu to file a written statement. The back page of the Ghanaian Times. Republic of Korea presents equipment to Foreign Affairs Ministry. And policy brief on nutrition education materials launched. The Daily Graphic this morning. President appoints sanitation minister and 2 others. Accra hosts Africa Women Children Conference on August 2nd. Death penalty has been scrapped. And AG to prosecute a Disadel student. On the back page, manhunt for Kumasi Boku bus attackers. Northern region benefits from free medical care.
All right, so I also have with me the new publisher. And on the front page, you have retired cops, MPs, probe leaked IGP tape. Martin Amidu says voice is his former clients. Uku under pressure to allow illegal lotto gangs. And then Dr. Frida Prempeh is new sanitation minister. And also on the front page of the Daily Analyst, Akufo-Addo Kufuor Mahama storm Pentecost Convention Center for National Development Conference today. And then we also have stop using Judicial Council to persecute Domahene, NDC tells Akufo-Addo. And also the docket on theft at Cecilia Dape's house forwarded to AG. And then Supreme Court upholds decision to expunge Kwesi's name from Parliament.
Okay. Well, the Daily Graphic this morning says death penalty scrapped. President appoints sanitation minister, 2 others. Accra hosts African Women Children Conference on August 2. AG to prosecute Adisadel student. Well, it's interesting to know that the AG himself is an old boy of Adisadel College. There's 7 days more. Watch out for the special pullout on the GCB, Ghana's own bank, at 70. On the back page, it says manhunt for Kumasi Boko bus attackers. Northern region benefits from free medical care. And that's the detail you have right there on the graphic.
I don't think we've had a bite on the Finder newspaper as well.
Okay, the Finder newspaper also says President appoints Frida Prempeh to replace Cecilia Dapaah. Top police officials, investigators visit Adisada College as assault investigations begin. Convener of Individual Bondholders Forum, Senyor Hosi, resigns. Anti-corruption measures not yielding results, Dr. Ankra. And Parliament repeals death penalty. Banner headline, police submit docket to AG as OSP expands scope of investigation. The ABC News comes up right after that, talks about the MPP gang of 9 to select who faces Bawumia in November 4 primaries. Frida Prempeh replaces Cecilia Dapaah, the Sanitation Ministry. There's an editorial also on the MPP primaries. The presidential aspirants must tell delegates their vision but not destroy the party. And GS takes decisive action against action over disturbing Adisada College violent video. And the Daily Guide is the final one. Screaming headline, Frida Prempeh takes over Sanitation Ministry. Parliament repeals death penalty. Kufuor told me I will go for Bawumia. Supreme Court throws out Kwesi again. And Nigerian gets 10 years for cocaine.
All right, where shall we begin, gentlemen? We've got the story of Adisada College captured on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times, and it says Adisada College housemaster interdicted. The housemaster at Adisada College in Cape Coast in the Central Region, Eko Holman, has been interdicted pending investigation into an assault on a student by a senior colleague captured in a viral video. A statement signed by the headmaster of the school, Samuel Kofi Akodo, and cited by the Ghanaian Times, indicated that the housemaster would be reinstated depending on the outcome of the investigation. This comes on the back of a video that went viral in which a student smashed the head of his schoolmate against the metallic bed frame in the dormitory, leaving him with a swollen face. I couldn't really watch the video, with my eyes wide open like that. I just put myself in the shoes of a parent. You nurture your child, take them through primary school, JSS, senior secondary school, only for someone else's ward to manhandle them in that manner in front of their peers. And George was here. He said, well, when he was in school, we didn't have the benefit of the mobile phones to capture. He says this was the norm, par for the course.
Well, I disagree with George. Things may have happened in school, but not to this magnitude. If you know those who, for example, fight martial arts, they will tell you how I won't call him a boy. I want to believe that he's gone past 18, so he's a man. But he's a very young man. How he held his colleague's neck.
That's right.
Okay, so he held it this way and interlocked it with this hand, giving you very little chance to, free yourself. And even in professional martial arts, if you are held that way, you either tap your opponent to indicate that you have given up or you have thrown in the towel.
Yeah.
So if you noticed, at some point, the boy tossed the phone away because he couldn't take it anymore. He was being strangled and he was hanging, literally. I mean, so if he had struggled, he would have died. That's the level at which it went. And I'm not sure in the secondary schools you would have found out. Once in a while you would find somebody ask you to go and fetch me water for me, do press ups or kneel down or go and weed or that kind of thing. I'm not sure this was what was happening in the schools. And you see, we have come this way because for a very long time we have allowed things to deteriorate. We know, and when we complain, the Ghana Education Service tells us that there is always a guidance and counseling unit in the school, and there's a counselor there. But we all know that it is not a stand-alone counselor. It is either a teacher who is given that additional responsibility to be the counselor. So the teacher has to grapple with lesson notes, he has to be in class, he has to assignments and all of that. And in addition, also serve as a counselor. Maybe there could be 2 for a school the size of Adisada College. Now, if you have such a situation, obviously the students are not going to be getting the kind of attention that they're looking forward to. That's one. Because you could clearly see that this may have festered for some time. People misbehaving in a particular time, they're not willing to go and report even if they are hurt and all of that. It may have gone on for a very long time, which is why I think that the housemaster for Kweku House is being used as a scapegoat in this matter, because the matter has gone viral and all of that. Add to that, there's also the whole concept of the abolishment of corporal punishment in schools. You can't cane the child even when they are wrong. You only have to say it and that's it. You can't repeat a child even when they are bad academically. You are forced to, promote them ahead and all of that. All these things are a contributing factor. So it gives a certain level of power to the children as opposed to giving that power to the student, to the teachers. That power in the hands of the students can be misused inappropriately because the students themselves are not so sure how to handle that kind of power and influence. Yeah. But so we'll wait for the investigations. But these will be my preliminary comments.
Yeah, Helen, I think that we can bring it to the basics. And this is from the home, parenting, okay? As a parent myself, I've come to realize that with my engagement with, toddlers, kids, every human being has the tendency to be violent. That is why a child is at the back of the mother, and then there's another child at the back of his or her mother. You see that one will stretch the hand to hit the other.
That's right.
You see, so those violent tendencies are there. But it behoves on parents to wean our children off those tendencies. So when the child is exhibiting such attitudes, such behavior in the house, it's hitting the elder sister, it's hitting, throwing stones, throwing things to the TV, you have to step your feet down and correct the child. Bible says that you should teach the child the way he or she should go, so that when she grows, she will not depart from it. So we should be always ready to reprimand our children when they go contrary to the norm. It's very, very important for all parents. Parenting is an act, is a science, and it's a full-time job that we need to take very, very serious. Aside that, I also realize that most of the time, there are people who tend to be bullies, who tend to, impose, themselves or stuff on others, are normally people with low self-esteem. I can remember back in secondary school, there was one guy, the whole school, very popular, very radical, aggressive all the time. So one day, I managed to enter into his soft spot. And it was vacation. He wasn't going home. I realized that this senior, anytime it's vacation, he doesn't go home. So I approached him and I asked, senior, I better go. Vacation, they go home all the time. They me too, I want to stay, I don't want to go home. He told me that, you don't know, Tender. Me, I don't go to the house because I live with my father and my stepmother. And mostly I'm with my stepmother. And the way they treat me in the house, I don't like. So he doesn't want to go home and then be maltreated. But this is a guy in school who is very radical. We see him always aggressive, So people tend to put up such behaviors, okay, to cover up their weakness, to feel like, in fact, they are making up for that gap. So we should intensify the counseling in our various schools, the guidance and counseling. And I know that in most schools, teachers are assigned to students. So maybe a teacher will have about, you are the class teacher or the course teacher.
That's right.
So those things are there. That engagement should be constant. And in every school, back in secondary school, we had informants. They are there. SP had his, seniors master had his, headmaster had his.
Is that what the young ones call snitching?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And there's a system that have been used over the years to ensure that there's sanity and there's order in our secondary school. So we should all be mindful of how we handle such situations. And I know the punishment must be given to whoever is found culpable. But punishment is not to destroy, but to correct, rehabilitate, and reform.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about it some more, of course, as we progress. It's on the menu this morning. Let's turn our attention now to money. I saw Johnny on one of the front pages about Senyo Hosi pulling out
Helen
from.
will not let this one slide.
No, because money issues, issues abound.
I'm sure you might take up the position because you have been so much concerned.
Which position?
Yes, the independent, the bondholders. In fact, you have always been on their case. You have always been championing and advocating for them to have their due. So yes, I think Senyo is trying to build a certain reputation for himself. He's seen as that guy who say it as it is. He's posing as that guy who will leave when he got to leave. So I don't know the exact reason for which he has resigned from that position, but if it is in his best interest, if it's in the best interest of the bondholders, so be it. Yeah.
Well, it piqued my interest because of this story on page 20. Banks return to path of profitability despite the impact of DDEP. The banking industry has returned to the path of profitability despite the lingering effect of the domestic debt exchange program DDEP, the governor of the Bank of Ghana has said. He said the data submitted by banks for the first half of 2023 showed a strong rebound in profitability in spite of the DDEP, which caused banks to incur huge impairment losses as a result of their holdings in government bonds. The banking sector's profitability improved in the first half of 2023. Net interest increased by 41.4% to 9.9 billion cedis relative to the increase of 12.4% recorded a year ago. Net fees and commissions also grew by 30.6% to 2.2 billion, compared with 27% over the same period last year. Dr. Addison stated this when he addressed a press conference in Accra on Monday to announce a new monetary policy stance after the 113th regular meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee. So a press conference was held to let us know that banks are returning to the path of profitability. Something is going well. And that's something that's captured here.
And that's why I thought that the Bank of Ghana's silence over Cecilia Dapa's $1 million at home and 300,000 euros, it took forever for the Bank of Ghana to speak about it. I found that to be quite disingenuous. And the only thing that the Bank of Ghana governor could say was that he was worried about it. And I'm connecting this because, for me, what I know and what I was introduced to as a boy who tried to start saving around age 14 under the direction of my father was that you need to keep money in circulation if you want the economy to grow. So the moment somebody hoards cash at one point, especially hard cash, when you're busy doing gold for oil, you're selling your gold to swap for dollars and to add dollars to go and get cheaper oil. When you're going around arresting Abochi at Tudu, 79 of them, for hoarding your dollars and whatever it is, then you have no reason not to be stern also at the Minister of State who sat at the table and said, let's go to IMF. She was part of the cabinet decision. Let's go to IMF. We at IMF, what are we looking for? Dollars. Sana, somebody has dollars at home. And people are now beginning to ask the questions. Is this the only minister with dollars at home? Or are these other ministers with dollars at home? And what could possibly have happened if these dollars had made their way to the bank and the banks were using it for trading? Would it have softened our lives a bit in the economy? Because you wouldn't need $1 million at an instant's time. And it's obvious that the money wasn't needed, which is why it was then. It was even stolen, and she found out by accident that the monies had been stolen. So for me, if we want the banks to be profitable, we need to put our monies there. We need to let the monies go around. Now with this expose, people are now thinking, should I really keep my money with the banks? Because the banks don't have monies of their own.
That's right.
It is our savings that they use and they use to do their business, and then when they make some profit, they give us some as interest and all of that. Now if we get the indication that the people who lead us and tell us they have cleaned up the banking sector are now keeping their monies at home, should we also not keep our monies at home? It's a fair question to ask.
If you recall, last year by this time, we were always on the case of the dollar.
That's right.
Because it was fast running. And, dollar was even rare and scarce on the market more than any other thing.
In fact, it was being rationed. You go to forex bureaus, legitimate ones, and there's a queue, and you can't get dollars.
Yes. So it's quite worrying when people hoard such monies in their house.
In fact, the Bank of Ghana had a timetable, to auction dollar.
That's right.
The Bank of Ghana.
Yes.
The same Bank of Ghana. So the governors, think that, we are all not, come on.
Yeah, but the profitability is a good news. But is this sustainable? You know, we don't want to make headlines. Some of us want to make history. So is the profitability sustainable? How does banks, make profit? Okay, so I know that mostly it's by the loans they give out and the interest they accumulate from them. So now we have a lot of contractors who have gone for bank loans.
That's right.
And they have completed their projects, raised their certificate, awaiting payment, and there's delay in payment. Now they are not able to pay their loans to the banks, and then the banks too are not making that profit. So I think that government should, by matter of urgency, pay contractors who have duly, executed their responsibilities, their task, and then let them have money. Yesterday, I think 2 days ago, so there was a man here, we see a big man crying because he has done a job, he hasn't been paid, and then the creditors, the banks are chasing him. It's not nice. Let's support the banking sector to grow to the extent that even if we are going to borrow money from the bank, the interest will not be that much, 27%, that 20%. When we are able to make the financial institutions, viable, we will take loans at 5%, 3%, 7%. And that is what will also help the producers, the manufacturers, the business people to make profit, expand, and employ more people.
Let's stick with money. Ghana loses 26 million in 2 years through electronic money issuers. Ghana lost about 26 million cedis through the electronic money issuers EMIs over the last 2 years, which is part of the financial crimes recorded over the period in the country. The EMIs constitute the list of companies approved by the Bank of Ghana to operate an electronic issuer and payment services for business transactions. The CEO of Mobile Money Limited, MML, Mr. Shaibu Haruna, disclosed this at the signing of an MOU between his outfits and Iyoko in Accra yesterday. COP Mamiya Tiwa Adudankwa signed it on behalf of Iyoko, while that of MML was signed by Mr. Haruna. The MOU is to help reduce trans-organized crime and fraud cases in the financial sector through effective collaboration. If I refer you to a Bank of Ghana's recent report on fraud in the industry, even though we saw a very slight increase in the number of incidents that were reported between 2021 and 2022, the value of what has been lost through mobile money has increased significantly. And I recall that a report was made public a few weeks ago where we got a breakdown of the crimes that had been committed. So yes, there was some decrease in the number, but the value of the monies that are being stolen electronically have gone up. And I was asking, are people still running scams? And in fact, it's even more so now. We need more protection on the digital front. That's something I think the Vice President should also be very concerned with when it comes to keeping our monies safe, not just to keep on the agenda of expanding the digital scope, but how are we protecting what we already have? Well, he's a very busy man.
It is.
Growing up, one of my favorite programs on TV was Saturdays when they're about to draw the lottery. Because that was when they would play some music videos. They played Diana Kane, CJ Louise. And again, because I don't know how come there were some mates, even as class 6 at that level, they were writing, the lotto writers, they were writing for their fathers, and these guys were making money. Some of my guys were staking and they were winning. So I think that development through games is very, very important, and that is even the reason why we as a media outlet, we're also introducing our cash out, which is going to reward our listeners for their loyalty. So on Friday, they should watch out. And again, Friday, we're going to be live at the Medina Market. We are bringing the Johnny's Bite there. So come and have your bite at the Medina Market, just the car park opposite.
There will not be a bite in the market, please.
You see,
there will not be a bite in the market, please.
Johnny,
I beg you, please.
The fact is, even if I get money,
there will be the voice of the people.
And I want to invest. I'm going to invest in Johnny's Bite.
Hey.
Yes, and this one is going to be the physical bite that you bite and then you masticate and you swallow. And
Johnny, do you know where we are going with this?
Yeah, it's a brand. It's a brand. It's a brand.
I have no idea.
If I have to get my no coffee from it. So, and I think that they call them illegal lotto operators.
That's right.
But these are the guys who have supported the system all these years. So NLA should find a way of incorporating them so that the taxes they need to pay, so that they need to do the right thing, and then they also be in business. Because a lot of families, if you go to the villages and other areas, you don't have those with the NLA POS machine, or So I think that NLA, I know Sami Oku to be a smart guy. There are a lot of guys there. They should find a way to streamline things for them.
Sure. Only 5 minutes to go, and then Johnny will be biting. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.